episode of the Empowered Parent Podcast, I know is one that is going to inspire so many of you, especially parents wondering what their child's future can truly look like. Joining us today is someone with an incredible story of resilience, determination, and redefining what success looks like for neurodivergent individuals. Dr. Douglas Sims was once a child who could not read or write and was repeatedly told he would never graduate school, never attend university, and never accomplish what others could. Nevertheless, those limitations placed on him became fuel. Dr. Sims, who is dyslexic and has ADHD, went from special education classrooms to earning a PhD, founding 4 national consulting firms, and becoming dean of a School of Science, Engineering, and Mathematics. Today, he is a scientist, entrepreneur, academic dean, published researcher, corporate CEO, and powerful advocate, helping the world understand that neurodiversity is not a weakness. It is often the foundation of creativity, innovation, and leadership. Dr. Sims, welcome to the Empowered Parent Podcast. We are so honored to have you with us today.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm honored to be here and speak with you and hopefully encourage others.
Awesome. That's what we're all about, is encouraging others. Can you take us back to your childhood and share what school was like for you as a student and when you learned how to read and spell?
You know, that's an interesting story. It dates back to my earliest time to kindergarten. I have a near photographic memory, unfortunately.
Unfortunately?
Yeah, it's you can never get rid of your experiences. I relive them even today from as early as 18 months old.
Oh, wow.
But
I wish.
well, it's good and it has its drawbacks. But I found it very difficult to learn in school, even in kindergarten and first grade, where I struggled to do the alphabet. No, not just read it, but write it, to the point where I had teachers ridicule me in front of the class, even in first grade. I remember that vividly to this day, the things that was said. And, young kids around you, your peers will pick up that behavior from your teacher and then weaponize it, of course. They're kids are kids. All the way through school, when I started to get into the reading resource room in elementary, they would send you, and they weren't really hiding it then. So you were marked at that point, and people knew you went to a reading resource room. To junior high, when teachers would point it out that you couldn't read. When you're a young boy or a young girl, and they have you stand up to read and you stutter and you don't read the words and you just can't read. The class attacks you at some point, at least out on the playground. To even high school, when I was in special education, the self-contained classes of the 80s, where you would go into a class of 8 to 10 people, 8 to 10 students, and that was not normal. That was the average class in the 80s in Vegas was 25 or 30 students, and you're in a small class. I hid it from my peers. I didn't want anyone knowing. And I did pretty good hiding it. Unfortunately, every once in a while, a friend would see me go in there, and they'd follow me in because that's what you do in school. And that was it was humiliating. But when a teacher would humiliate you by pointing out you couldn't read and call you disparaging words, I was called by teachers dumb and stupid and other words that we don't use today in front of the classroom. That beats the student down. A word or a statement can either lift you or destroy you. I didn't let it destroy me. I didn't let it lift me, maybe, but I definitely weaponized that to keep moving. I let it fuel my journey. And not everyone has my resilience. Some people give up, and I saw that. I saw my peers give up and become what they were told by teachers. And I was told I would never graduate. I was told I would be a ditch digger. And it's ironic. I have a PhD in ditch digging, so I do it really well. So I guess I became a ditch digger, but just a different type. It was tough growing up. I hit it, and my mother was my advocate. That was my number one team fan as a kid. And at the time, you didn't really understand how powerful your mother could be and help push you forward. But she definitely kept that going, even though I resented it at times because it made you a bigger target in class when your mother would go in and raise, heck with the teacher of the special education system. Yeah, it was tough. I barely graduated, and I was told, "Don't worry about passing the high school proficiency. We're going to give you an attendance diploma." Well, I passed the test barely and went on to college, despite being told you'll never get in, never succeed. And in college, it became my wife, who was my girlfriend, who was my biggest champion then. Without her, I probably would never have finished college. I wouldn't be here today.
Well, that's amazing. And it's so true and so sad that teachers don't understand and that sometimes they can be the hardest ones on us who learn differently.
Mhm.
You would think that they would all champion for us, but unfortunately that isn't always the story.
No, it's not. And the students that I've interacted with as a dean and as a teaching professor, I know who has neurodivergence because I'm part of that crew. And the stories they tell me today are no different than when I went through the system, back 40 years ago. It's still there. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, well, like I told you before we started recording, I've lived in Vegas, and my daughter, she was born in Vegas, and when she started in school, they recommended that we hold her back, and then there was no support, and we held her back, and we ended up putting her in private school, but it was probably a worse experience for her in private school because her teacher was not kind, and we were paying thousands of dollars for a teacher to not be kind to our child, who would then play sick on a constant basis so she could go home early. And that's not what we want for our kids. So
We want them to learn and be supported. And I think teachers get bombarded with what they can't do more than what they can do today. And I don't think it's any different 40 years ago. But I agree. It's very sad.
yeah. So what impact did it have on you emotionally when people repeatedly told you that you weren't going to achieve anything?
Oh man, it's very emotional even to this day. It brings you down. Depression. You end up walking through life in a cloud of depression at a young age, even in graduate school or college. It tears you down. And again, I'm very resilient. I think that's what saved me. But it's terrible. I mean, you have dark thoughts. Am I worth it? Should I be here? Can I continue doing this? Many times through college and graduate school, you question why you're there because it's tough. Dyslexia doesn't go away. You have to learn to mitigate it, work with it. But yeah, I see kids today giving up because they just get beat down, and so I don't think it's any different with anyone else as it was with me. It's very sad.
Yeah. And well, like you said, your mom was your advocate. I mean, I'm always saying dyslexic kids need at least one advocate to keep them going. And, that's very important for parents listening to this, that, you could be that advocate. And for teachers who might be listening to this, you can be that advocate and not be the person who is making the child feel like they're not worthy of anything, because we can't help how we were born. So,
I agree with you 100%. Without the advocacy, which I talk about in my book, Wired Differently to Dyslexic Scientists, that advocacy it didn't make me successful, it helped me be successful. And part of the journey that I've gone on over the last 2 years of writing my book, and it comes out June 1st, is several events that have occurred in the last 2 years really put my journey under the magnifying glass for me. I was at a party a couple of years ago, and I had a teacher that was there, and I said, "What do you do?" And she says, "I teach the dummies."
oh,
I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Well, the kids with IEPs." And I said, "I have an IEP," when I was in school, and her jaw dropped. And she said, "What do you mean?" "No, there's no way. You have a PhD." "No, I had an IEP." And I went on to get a PhD in one of the hardest areas. And it wasn't easy, but that attitude stops young people moving forward. But that was one major light that went off, that, wow, she really hasn't changed.
wow. Yeah. And those are the people who parents are entrusting to provide their children with what they need. And yeah, I mean, you're just really bringing up points that I have often experienced. And I hate when I'm feeling or being that negative about it, but having lived it, I mean, it's kind of hard to not have that negative experience. I ended up homeschooling my 3 kids with dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, and all the other neurodiversities that they have, because, that was the best opportunity for them to have a better self-esteem, if nothing else. I mean, I think, they left more educated as well, but definitely their self-esteem was saved from being homeschooled.
Oh yeah. I think that one-on-one where a parent can do, or you paid a tutor to come in and help your kids. I mean, when I graduated from high school in 1989, I just dated myself there, but I couldn't read. I couldn't write.
You couldn't at that point.
No, I couldn't, because back in the 80s, special education was to get you through, not get you through with tools. And when I went to college, I mean, it just beat me hard. And I got suspended twice, 2 times for academics. And my wife is the one, when we were dating, it showed me how to study, how to break things down, and how to be successful. And even to this day, I'm 55, I still struggle with reading. I have problems reading. It takes me 2 to 3 minutes to read a page, and because of my dyslexia, it'll take me 2 months to read a 150-page book, and then I have to keep reading it because the comprehension isn't always there. It doesn't go away. It will be there forever.
Well, it does get better with things like my tutoring program, because I never went through my program, but I tutored students, and so I got the tools myself, and I became a much better reader. And my husband, I tutored him at 44 because he is also dyslexic. And you need to practice, like anything in life, right? We have to practice to improve. But
I think you're right. Tutoring is important because the practicing and repetition is key. And I love the fact that you have that tutoring service. And I think more people with dyslexia, dysgraphia, ADHD, that actually compounds problems for dyslexia. But I think if you go learn from someone like that, it definitely reinforces the skills. And I still remember, because my mother took me to tutoring, 40 years ago, and I still remember those tools to this day because I went to this lady for close to 2 years every Saturday. And they're still there.
That's great. Yeah. Well, now I'm curious about your photographic memory. I mean, I was just saying to my 2-year-old granddaughter yesterday, "Oh, you have such a good memory. You're so lucky." My dyslexia, that's one of the traits that I don't have the strongest memory of information. What you said, that sometimes that's not good for you. I mean, didn't that help you in any way academically?
My photographic memory is situations, conversations, interactions. Reading a book, no, I can't read a book and really remember much unless I really get into it. But I can remember interactions with people going back to 18 months old. It's some of those memories are painful, very, very painful. I remember the death of my brother, which occurred in '87, like it was yesterday.
Wow.
The conversations with people around that, the comments made by teachers, peers, people over me about how I wouldn't succeed. I remember those conversations like yesterday, and they play in my head to this day. 55 years old, and I still remember and can go through those conversations to this day. Yeah, I wish I had one where I can read a book and recount the whole book. Page 32 says this. I can do that with my research because, that's a lot of repetition, but I can't do that with reading a book that for enjoyment or a textbook. But yeah, conversations, interactions, they're in my head.
How about audiobooks? Do you remember those?
I can remember audiobooks more because, again, I'm a visual and audio learner than I am a reading learner.
Yeah, well, I guess, everything has its pluses and its minuses for sure.
It does. Yes, it does.
Before we dive into today's episode, we'd like to take a moment to thank our amazing sponsors who make this podcast possible. First up, we have 3D learning experts. If you or someone you love struggles with dyslexia, dyscalculia, or similar learning differences, 3D learning experts is here to help. They specialize in virtual tutoring for students of all ages. From first grade to adulthood, their expert tutors use the proven Orton-Gillingham method for language arts, structured and sequential program for writing success, and a multi-sensory approach to math. This ensures students enhance their reading, writing, spelling, and math skills in a way that suits their needs. Empowering students with confidence and success. That's what 3D Learning Experts is all about. To learn more, visit 3dlearningexperts.com. And when it's time to unwind, why not escape to fabulous Las Vegas with Casa Arce Vacations? Whether you're planning a quick getaway or a family reunion, Casa Arce Vacations offers 4 unique stays at one convenient location. Just under 3 miles from the Strip, choose from a cozy tiny house, 2 stylish studios, or a spacious 4-bedroom, 2-bath unit. All guests have access to amazing amenities, including a play pool, putting green, barbecue, fire pit, and each unit has its own private patio. Perfect for any occasion, they've got the ideal spot for your next adventure. Start planning your trip today at facebook.com/Casa RSA Vacations. Thank you to our sponsors for their support and for the incredible services they provide. Now, let's get back to today's episode.
And you talk about the adversity that you experienced turned into momentum. How did you begin making the momentum, the mental shift from I can't to I will?
It was in high school because I was told by many teachers I wouldn't ever amount to anything. Get used to pumping gas, Doug, because you'll never finish college or high school. So I started to say, I'm done. I'm sick of this garbage. And I started to say, well, I'm going to succeed at all costs. And I was able to get out of special education a little bit, not completely, into mainstream classes with support, of course. I mean, I wasn't there without support from the special education department. And then when they told me I would never pass the high school proficiency exam, I said, I'm going to pass it. And they said, no, you're never going to pass that test. And I thought, and I passed that test first try. Getting into college, I will say that was a lot different because college is different. It's not like high school. The support you have there is not the same. In the first 2 years was a really steep learning curve for me. And again, I got expelled twice for academics. So I like to say they gave me a year-long sabbatical to think about my performance. And that time off gave me time to reflect and how to regroup. And my girlfriend, who's now my wife, helped me learn to be successful and focus more on breaking down sentences and reading and getting through and learning how to organize. I think that's a key too. But again, it was in high school. I would say probably my sophomore year when I started to say, I'm done listening to you. I'm going to show you otherwise.
And did you start off at community college and then go to university?
No, I probably should have started off at a community college. I went right to UNLV.
Oh, wow.
300-person classes, and it was brutal. I think community college would have been better, especially being that one was up the street for me, which is where I work now at the College of Southern Nevada, which is now a 4-year school with a 2-year mission. But yeah, those classes are much smaller. Math class at a community college is about 20, 25. A major university, you're looking at 100. So yeah, it would have been better.
And what do you do at the college?
I'm the dean of the School of Science, Engineering, and Math. So I supervise one of the largest schools within College of Southern Nevada. I oversee biology, mathematics, engineering, and also the physical sciences like geology, chemistry, geography.
Is that the beautiful campus in Henderson?
That's one of them. That's where I'm based.
Okay.
I oversee all CSN campuses as the dean of science, engineering, and math.
Okay. See, I can remember seeing it, but I didn't remember the name of it.
It's changed a lot probably since you've been there. We built a couple new buildings, so it's pretty big in Henderson.
What does it feel like now to be someone who is publishing a book when you weren't even able to read a book 30 years ago?
Wow, that's a great question. I still have doubts in my head when they're pounded into you. Do I measure up? I feel good that I'm able to put out a book that I know will help people. I'm pretty successful. I would admit that because of a lot of hard work, a lot of failures, a lot of wins. But it feels good to be able to put something out that I know is going to help folks if either they read it or their support system reads it, like a parent, a clinician. I know so far several pediatric neuropsychologists love it, and they're going to give it to their patients as well. And I'd be happy to talk to people. I'd love to talk to folks about neurodivergent success. It's called a disability, but we're not disabled. We can do incredible things with the right support and encouragement. But yeah, I feel good that I can write that book. It took me 2 years, and 2 years, and it brought up a lot of pain from the past because I talk about my journey and the pain that I have. Yeah, I'm glad I'm able to do it, and I hope it works and helps people, but I know it will help people if they read it.
And will you have an audio version of it available?
Relatively quick through Amazon. They'll actually set it up on audio so that folks can listen. I think that's important as well.
Yeah, especially in our demographics.
Definitely in our demographics. It's so much easier to have audio today versus back in the 80s when I went through the public system where it was a cassette tape.
Yeah, well, my daughter had Learning Ally because, I mean, even in the early 2000s, that was all that was available, and it was a CD. But,
Yep.
you know, it was awkward, and you had to have them mail it to you and things like that. So it's so much more convenient now that we can just access these things for a nominal amount of money. So.
You know, and I think like through universities and colleges, the DRC, Disability Resource Center, provide access to all your textbooks too online. And I think that is incredible. And they provide note takers and note taking technology. And it's so much easier to succeed today.
Well, and there's more colleges available too. Like my son went to Vermont to Landmark College for just for a summer program, but it was a life-changing experience for him to be around other people with dyslexia and, you know, just have that support of staff that completely understands. Where
that sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, he was not willing to go that far away from home to go to college, but it was a great summer opportunity for him.
There's another great program in Arizona. I think it's called the Salt River Project or program.
Yeah, I interviewed someone from the SALT program a few years back. I can't remember. There was like their program is more like a special ed program on steroids versus an actual like, you know, place for all neurodivergent people.
Correct. I agree with you on that.
So, Dr. Sims, what advice would you give parents of adult children of how to proceed with supporting them?
I was told a long time ago that you can do whatever you want and help your kids guide them, but eventually they're going to do what they're going to do. I think it's encouragement from an early age, though. Encourage them. Provide that support structure. It's taxing as a parent at times to constantly provide it, even when your kids become adult, you know, their own young adults. But yeah, you got to help them and provide that you got to provide the support, encourage them, support. You know, we have 2 kids as well. Dyslexia is hereditary, it's genetic. I'm not going to talk about my kids' journey because that's their story to tell, but we were there for our kids. You know, a lot more than our parents were there for us. But anytime I see a parent that asks me about how did you become successful and get a PhD, I tell them, you know, it's a painful journey. It's like walking on a bed of nails, both directions, uphill, in the snow at times as the person with dyslexia and ADHD. But yeah, it's the individual has to want to succeed as well. You can encourage them all you want, but if they're not willing to walk that path, then there's not much you can do to make them go down that particular path. And encourage and support whatever path they choose to take. And as a parent, it's we give them the tools to do great things. But at the end of the day, like this guy in his 80s told me, you can encourage your kids all you want. At some point, they're going to do what they're going to do, and let them do it. Don't fight it. You want to keep them close to you at some point when they have families. Exactly.
That's what I was trying to say about the not pushing them too much, because I was a helicopter parent in in the 2000s, because that's what most of us were. But yeah, now I'm trying to not be a helicopter parent because they're all adults.
We're all adults, and it's hard to watch your kids make decisions that are different than ours based on, for me, 55 years of knowledge. And I'm sure my parents watched me make decisions they didn't agree with as well.
Well, but based on what you said, you've done a lot more than your parents probably expected of you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did.
And did you have siblings? Do you have siblings? Oh, you said your brother passed away.
I have a sister. She lives in a different city in Nevada. She's older than I am. She's at the point of life of enjoying not working.
Oh, nice.
You know, I'll get there soon.
And did they struggle with dyslexia as well, or were you the only one?
I was the only one. I had dyslexia and severe ADHD, and I was the ADHD made me the fun kid, and the dyslexia made me the painful kid at times for getting support in schools from my mother.
I always say that the ADHD is what drives me. I mean, that's how I put in 12 hours of work in, sometimes maybe an 8-hour window, but most people don't accomplish as much in one day as I do. So
I call my ADHD my superpower. I weaponized it against my dyslexia. And when I started my company in 97, I would work 20-hour days. And,
wow.
I would just work and work. I could sleep on a plane between project sites because I'm an environmental guy. So I would sleep 4 or 5 hours and get up and work another 20. And I remember the ADHD helped me build a business really quick. And waking up in a fourth city in 3 days and wondering where I'm at because that's how busy I was. And then realizing where I'm at and then hopping a plane and coming home. It's ADHD is a great tool and a hindrance sometimes.
What were your businesses that you were doing that you were traveling like that?
I built early on an environmental laboratory and then a consulting firm. And so the consulting, I would travel to, for example, we would do a lot of environmental sites for cell towers. So we'd go out and clear the site before Verizon would build a tower. And, you get a package of 500 sites and the team would go out, and I'm a seller doer. So I would go out in the field and do field work as well. But yeah, I mean, I would literally land in Florida one day, end up in Georgia the next day doing 2 sites, and then up to Pennsylvania. That night, 4-hour sleep trip, basically a plane, and then hop a plane home the third day after being in 4 cities.
Wow.
Yeah, it was painful, but ADHD kept that fuel going. Since you have ADHD too, I would self-medicate with Diet Cokes. I would drink Diet Cokes all day long, and studies show that it actually helps manage your ADHD. I don't recommend it. I was drinking 14 to 18 cans a day. I would drink a Diet Coke before bed, wake up middle of the night, drink a Diet Coke, wake up in the morning, grab a Diet Coke, get in the shower, drink my Diet Coke, grab a Diet Coke on the way out the door, and just keep drinking it. And I got off that finally after probably 20 years of Diet Coke. I should have bought stock in Coca-Cola, but I didn't.
Yeah, I can relate. When my 4th child was born, I started drinking coffee for the first time so I could keep going. And I drank Starbucks when I dropped the kids off at school. And then right before I picked them up, I'd get my second Starbucks.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, I spent $700 a month on Starbucks coffee.
Oh my. I probably spent $700 a month on Diet Coke, so I understand.
So, what strategies and tools other than Diet Coke and coffee can help students succeed academically and professionally that others might benefit from?
I love that question because today versus when I was a younger person going through school, the youth today have AI, either ChatGPT or Gemini. I think it's a great tool because I don't use it as a crutch. Use it as a tool to learn. And I talk to people about this all the time. If you need to write a paper, don't ask it to write the paper. Write your sentences and your paragraphs, dump it into something like ChatGPT and say, fix it. Don't trust ChatGPT and AI to pump your paper out because it's gonna be wrong, and we're gonna catch you in higher ed. And once we catch you doing that, that's an academic violation. Organize. Oh my gosh, they have things that you can put on your phone, organizational apps. One of my biggest failures is my ADHD would cause me to miss deadlines and meetings, especially in school. You can't miss a deadline because you're going to fail. But these phones today will tell you when something's due. I mean, gosh, audiobooks, another great tool compared to when I was in school 40 years ago. Audiobooks are incredible. You don't need to be part of DRC in higher ed to get an audiobook from Amazon. If you have the Kindle subscription, you get them for free. Or you can go to the school. Your professors are using OERs, which is things that don't cost money for your textbooks anymore. And you can put it into your system and tell it to read, like Word. You can have a PDF document read out loud on your computer today. Those are great things. And then again, the number one, you got to have support. If you don't have support because you're afraid to ask for it, ask for help, you're gonna struggle. That's when depression comes in, when you feel alone. And I've been there. Back in college when I first started, I didn't meet my wife right away. I met her a year in, and I hid my dyslexia from her, but she started to see fractures. And when you get depressed, you don't perform. One of the incidents that I talk about, I call it the fried shrimp incident. My wife started to see fractures, and we met at my apartment, and we decided to go to school together, but different cars. I said, let's go different cars. She should have known something's up. So she turned right to UNLV, and I waited a little bit, and I turned left and went to Long John Silver's and got a big thing of fried shrimp and fries and a soda and went back to my apartment instead of going to school and watch Star Trek. Oh, I'm so lucky she didn't dump me, because most young women would have dumped a guy because she was in the parking lot wondering what happened when I was back at my apartment eating fried shrimp. That's when she started to see the fractures in what was wrong. And then she started to provide that support. Right? The support structure is, I mean, that's number one. You got to have it. Got to ask for help and be okay with asking. Don't be embarrassed.
Well, and so many people are embarrassed. I had a student who shared with me how her father, who she assumes was the dyslexic link, she was an adult student, and he would be driving along with the kids, and he would say, "What's that sign say? What's that sign say?" Like he was testing them, but really he was having them help him read the signs.
Yeah, I understand. And, at 55, when I wrote this book, one of my biggest concerns was releasing it because I hide it. I've hid my dyslexia because even as professionals, there's still judgment on you. And I hid it. And I finally decided I'm going to publish this book, and I don't care what anyone says, because my success shows that I'm not disabled.
Right.
Disability, and I've learned to work with it. It still impacts me. And maybe I can help others realize don't be embarrassed. Don't go out and tell everyone you're dyslexic. That doesn't help either. But ask for help. Don't be embarrassed, though.
And for neurodivergent adults listening who still struggle with self-doubt because of their past educational and environmental experiences, what encouragement would you give them?
Oh, don't stop. Don't stop. And weaponize the negative, disparaging comments made towards you. Don't attack folks, because it doesn't help. But use it as a weapon. Fuel your drive, and don't let them win. That's a big thing. Don't let someone win. Don't let their words about your future be who you become. Again, I'd be pumping gas today, or again, I guess I'm a ditch digger still, but I'm a PhD ditch digger. I can do it really well, but don't let them win. That's the key. I mean, that's I tell kids all the time at the university and the colleges that I work at that you're the only one that can dictate your future. Don't let others dictate it for you.
That's awesome. And what is one thing that you want every parent to know?
You're not alone. You're not alone. There are more and more people being identified as neurodivergent from dyslexia, ADHD, autism. Autism is a really big spectrum. It's actually wide, and you're not alone. It's a hard road, and don't let the schools dictate your kids, the K-12, what your kid's direction is. And I've watched schools push or bully parents down a path that's not appropriate for their kid that needs an IEP. If they need an IEP, force the IEP. Go get psychological evaluation of your kid. My wife, by the way, is a pediatric neuropsychologist. I always make a joke. She did her dissertation on me, but she helps families get their kids the needed help, because schools won't provide it. The majority of schools will fight you on it. And a 504 and an IEP are completely different tools. An IEP has teeth. 504 is more like a memo. Go get an IEP, force it.
So tell us, your book's coming out in less than a month. Where can people find your book? What is it about, and how can they become part of your community?
Yeah, my book, Wired Differently, The Dyslexic Scientist, comes out on June 1st. The ebook comes out immediately. It'll be also in the Kindle subscription, that if you pay for that, you don't have to pay for the book then. Or you can buy the ebook. The paperback and the hard copy will come out as well. It's about my journey. It starts at a very young age, and it chronicles why this book came out. And I got an award at UNLV and for being the Alumni of the Year of 2023 for all the stuff I do. And when I got the award, I realized they didn't know the journey, the painful journey that I went through. And it's on Amazon, the first place it drops. It will go to Barnes and Noble and all the other bookstores probably within a week after that as well. I have to go load it first, and then I'll do the QC of it. And it's a great book. It's a quick read. For those who aren't dyslexic, it would take me a month or more to read it because I read very slow. And the book has a lot of joy, a lot of wins, and a lot of pain. I talk about how I was attacked, or not attacked, but we're told how I wouldn't succeed in school by teachers. I don't use their names, of course. I hope, again, people can read it and see if I can succeed with the journey I've had, that anyone can succeed with their journey. It talks in the book that you can contact me as well. I'll probably get bombarded with emails and phone calls, but I'd be willing to talk to groups, individuals, provide encouragement. I'll provide as much support as I can because I'm that much of an advocate for my colleagues that are part of my cohort, my neurodivergent brothers and sisters.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sims, for sharing your story and your wisdom with us today. I think so many parents needed to hear this reminder that a struggling child is not a helpless adult. And sometimes that very trait the world misunderstands because the foundation for extraordinary innovation, resilience, and leadership are not always, expected from someone who graduates high school unable to read. And to the parents listening, never let a diagnosis determine your child's future. Their journey may look different. Nevertheless, different does not mean less than. Your child's strength, creativity, and potential matters. And with the right support and belief, incredible things are possible. If today's episode encouraged you, please share it with another parent who may need hope right now. And if your child is struggling with reading, spelling, writing, or math, I would love to talk to you and help support your child at 3D Learning Experts. And you can schedule a consultation call with me today. And thank you for joining us on the Empowered Parent Podcast. We'll see you next time.